Welcome to Devoted to a Soldier Resource Panel. I am very excited tonight to have two amazing people. That's like small world living. I just found out Monty and I grew up we didn't grow up, but he lived like an hour from me. So how crazy cool is that? Kris did not, but she doesn't want to come visit anyway. Totally sold her out of coming to New Hampshire. It's not happening. But tonight, in all seriousness, Brian, if you're watching, this is your heads up. I always got to give him a heads up. It's about suffering in silence. And they're both, actually, all three of us have kind of a connected, a connected mission, and then our own purpose and stuff going on too. So it's a very cool night tonight. But before we get started, Monty, tell the world a little bit about who the dude in the middle of these two blondes are. I just had to put that out there because that's how it's showing up on my screen.
I like the ratio, by the way. Yeah. So Monty Heath, I was in the SEAL teams, joined the teams right after high school. This was pre 9/11. Got out to the East Coast, SEAL Team 2, did a bunch of deployments before the towers fell. Then the towers fell, got overseas, got to Afghanistan in 2002, 2003, and 2004. A couple of deployments to Bosnia. Wanted to get out to start a family, so that's what I did. And then entered the defense contracting industry. Did that for a while, executive protection. And then the last 6 years, I got into helping veterans. And before that, I didn't really care about humanity. And it was actually the Special Olympics that got me hooked on humanity. And then I quickly went over from the Special Olympics to helping veterans. So the last 6 years, that's what I've been doing. And I'm happy to join the 1 Mile team, which you both are on. And yeah, that's the quick and down and dirty.
That is. I love how you're so like this. Want to start a family?
Linear.
That's what I did. Da-da-da. That's what I did. And here we are.
Very serious, very linear, very,
Yep. That is. I'm so glad this is video and not video, because nobody would get me. They'd be like, I don't even know. There's like complete silence. It's all of this going on when I'm around. But Kris, a little bit about who you are.
I'm Kris Bachman. I am a family nurse practitioner. My nursing background was in neurosurgical intensive care. And also in organ donation. I was an organ procurement coordinator, which meant that I placed organs with people that needed them. So I was in a lot of trauma situations, where organs became available, and made lots of furious phone calls and gave people a second chance at life. I went back to school, became a family nurse practitioner, and then had a family, and my middle child was born prematurely. So that was my call to put family first. I gave up my career, but I was yearning for something for myself. And so I had this great opportunity from a friend to dive in on this idea that he had, and it turned into the 1 Mile Leadership Project. And it's been an amazing experience. It's kind of given me another purpose in life, a way to give back that I haven't been able to have since kind of staying home with my kids. So that's me.
I did not know your middle child was.
Yeah, he wasn't too early, but early enough that he was in the NICU for a while.
Yeah, I mean, I hate to say this, and then we're going to get into it, but premature babies are ugly. Like, I looked at this is terrible. I'm a terrible mother, but I looked at him and I was like, what is this? This is like an alien that came out of me. Oh my God. He turned in, Brett, I love you. If you're out there, you're a handsome young man doing amazing things, but you've heard this story.
I was stuck in the chute for like 20 hours or something. And I came out with a cone head, and my uncle Walt apparently came by the babies, and he was like, I hope it's not that one. And it was me.
Okay, so see, we all have an ugly baby story. I'm feeling better about this. All right, but going right into it, I actually want to talk about the 1 Mile Project just in a smidget, because that is what this topic is about. And that's why I specifically asked you to be here, about suffering in silence. So talk about this ram race and what the heck it is. for people out there that know me, when I'm asked to do something, I get this feeling inside my heart of like, yes. And so I say yes. And then I'm like, what exactly did I say yes to? And so explain a little bit about what this suffering in silence, what this ram race, what this connection that we all have is about, which gives a little bit of clarity.
I'll start on this one. So my co-founder and I, Mike Campbell, started the 1 Mile Leadership Project, and it was this, online community of people that had inspiring stories to tell. And mostly it started off as being athletes. And then we found this amazing connection with the military as well. We found this kind of cross, I don't know what the right word is, but, we found that they were having the same types of problems that athletes were, trying to find a purpose in life. And we just made this amazing connection. And so we had this kind of momentum going, decided we wanted to take it and put on an event. And Mike said, well, let's do RAM. I'm like, well, what's RAM? He's like, Race Across America. I'm like, I still don't know what that is. I'm a runner, so I don't know anything about cycling. He's like, well, it's a cycling event across the country. And I'm like, okay, let's go big. And that's kind of what we do. And so we put together a team of 8 amazing riders, all with very different, diverse backgrounds, but have an amazing story to tell. They represent 1 Mile very well. And we're like, well, let's just build our crew as well. And so we built a crew of 12 with equally as amazing stories. And I think we have a total of 8 either active duty or retired servicemen and women that just bring so much to the table. I'm so proud and proud to be part of this team. I think together we're going to do amazing things.
Yeah. I'm excited about it. And there's this whole documentary piece of it. And that's kind of where I plop in. And by the way, let me tell you, I've told everybody I don't get the nice bus during the ram race. I get the crappy one that, I don't even know. We'll see. This will be a show in itself. Forget everything. Like how
and so I guess I really didn't even explain, but RAM is a 3,000 plus mile continuous cycling event across the country. And it starts in Oceanside, California, and ends at the Naval Academy in Annapolis, Maryland. And it's brutal.
Gained 175,000 feet.
Yeah. More people have climbed Mount Everest than have completed RAM, to put it in perspective.
Yeah, it's gonna be great to see the struggle, to see the not just the struggle, but the overcoming and the dynamics and all that. And that's kind of what the documentary is there for, the purpose of, to give a visual behind that suffering in silence, because we all do it. And some form, like Monty have spoken so clearly about, that there's not that, it doesn't matter what the pain is, or how did you say that? It doesn't matter what happened to you. It's all
trauma is trauma.
Right.
And the military doesn't own trauma.
No. And you say it so well. So I want to get right into it about how do you guys define mission and purpose? Because I feel they're very parallel, but at the same time can be not so much. And it can create this confusion when within us, especially when we define it ourselves as something. Like, I was a professional athlete, and then I wasn't. It was ripped from me, right? Monty, you were Navy SEAL, and then you weren't. You weren't anymore. So we all have these different things. So talk to me about how you guys define mission and purpose.
So I'll start. I think it's there's obviously a whole bunch of overlap, and I've never actually really split them apart personally. Like, I know businesses always have a mission statement and a vision statement and a purpose statement, so they always split it apart. But I've never really split them apart, because to me they're very much intertwined. And to me, the purpose is the why, and the mission is the what. So, like, what do you have to get out of bed in the morning for, right? Like, why would you go to the gym if you hate yourself? Why would you eat right if you're suicidal? Like, why would you get out of bed if you don't have a job? So I think the what and the whys kind of go hand in hand. And I'm not sure you can really have one without the other, but I know they're both very important. And without either one of them, humans don't do well.
Right. I mean, but sometimes we think our mission is given to us. and then you create a purpose around what is given to us, whether it's life or circumstance, And so I think it's true. You have to have both. And that's where, in my mind, I see that it gets a little murky. I mean, Kris, what do you think?
I agree 100% with both of you. I think there's very valid points. Once again, they're intertwined so deeply, the what and the why. You need both. So I think, Monty, you took the words exactly from me.
Stealer of words, Monty. You're silent stealer of words. So you have it, we have these thoughts, right? We have these thoughts around the mission and the purpose, and you want to translate it. I'm going to talk specifically about the military because that's what this is all about. But translating that, either whether you would define it as your mission, something giving, or your purpose of something feeling. And maybe that's, as I'm talking, how I subconsciously feel the difference of mission and purpose, is one is practical and one is a feeling of emotion. But how do you translate that after service when you are just like in a whirlwind?
Well, I think it starts with awareness. You've got to be aware of how you are, how you think, what your behavior is, and then maybe even go a little bit step deeper and look at why is your behavior that way? So awareness, I think the awareness is the first step. And I'm talking about internal awareness. And we can talk about external awareness, later, which is like other people looking at this person. Hey, he doesn't look right. He doesn't look happy. Let's check up on him. That's one type of awareness. But the first awareness is the internal awareness. Like, why do I drink so much? Why do I drink to blackout? Why do I like to hurt people? Why do I, whatever it is, whatever your thing is, maybe dig a little deeper and kind of go into that behavior and go into the why and try to figure out the why. And then you can, with that awareness, gain some skills and some practice, and then you can change it.
What do you think goes, Kris, maybe you can, even with like your medical background, right? You have a different perspective of things. How do you get out of that? Because I know when I've been in a not so great place, that is all that's consuming. Mm-hmm. So how do you get that? Like, why the heck am I doing this? Well, I'm doing this because my life's over. That's why I'm doing this. Everything I thought is not that anymore. So, what's that thing that helps snap?
I think it's people that finally make that decision that they want to get help. And that can be with anything. It can be with addiction. It can be with, mental health. It's realizing A, that you have a problem, and B, that you need to get help. And I think that is very difficult when you're in that deep, dark place that, you just can't get out of. And I think it's always one thing. It's something that someone said to you. It's something that you saw on TV. It's something that you read. It's like, it always takes just that one thing. And maybe it's just that someone cares about you. Maybe you find another purpose. Purpose in life is everything. And Monty, you've said this more than once. Everyone needs a purpose in life. They need something to get out of bed for in the morning. And maybe it's not your job, but maybe it's something else. Maybe it's your family. Maybe it's, I don't know what that thing is, but you got to figure it out. Otherwise, bad things happen. That's where
humans are not supposed to be isolated. That's the biggest thing. I think that's the easiest thing that we can just say to ourselves if we have nothing else would be like, we are not made to be in isolation. So if you're in,
but it feels good. It's safe.
Yes.
That's why we do it. It's safe. If I don't want to deal with the DMV or people out on the sidewalk or just random people around, you stay on your couch, right?
Well, how do you take your ass out of that? Because we're not made to be isolated.
We've got to start thinking differently. So your last question on how do you get out of that? You don't get out of it until you start thinking differently. It's like, which wolf do you feed? So if I'm always ruminating on this negative stuff, I'm never going to get out of there. But once I have the awareness that I'm actually thinking about those negative things and I have the power to change to think about something else, that's where your change starts and that's where your shift starts. So you have to have the desire to change. You have to have the awareness to even know what's wrong. And then you need some skills and then you need to practice.
All right. So let's talk about that awareness for a second, because we lose our awareness. We become delusional in ourselves is really what, we create this.
We believe our own thoughts.
Yeah. That's why they're there. That's why God put them there, right? No, that's not really why. But so how do you create that awareness? Tell me some practical things that you have seen or you have used in your life that brought that awareness out. You know, like I just know for me, one day I had this sense, I feel like God just opened my heart. Like I'm a religious person. Close your ears, people, if you don't like it, or, you know, send me bad email later. I don't know. But I believe that he let me down this road of darkness to learn from. And then one day he just like ripped open my heart. And I didn't know why, but there was a change in me. And he's like, you're going to learn to love. Suck it up, buttercup. I mean, that's like my thing. What have you guys seen? Because I feel like we need to have actual examples. People don't know because they don't have an example.
I got a super quick and easy one to change any behavior or to start to change a behavior. And it was how it was explained to me was basically walking through a doorway. So this veteran said something to the effect of like, I never smile. I never want to smile. It never comes across my mind to smile. And someone said, okay, well, let's practice this. Every time you walk through a doorway, smile. And it's kind of that idea, like you have to fake it till you make it. Like, even if you don't believe you're happy, telling yourself you're happy has some effect. Now, I'm not saying let's walk around and say everything's rainbows and unicorns and all that, but you can change your behavior by walking through a doorway and doing X. I want to smoke a cigarette. Next time you walk through the doorway, you know, think of something else, maybe do some push-ups or whatever it is, but change a behavior with a behavior and have some type of a thing that enables it. A watch alarm, a phone alarm, walking through a doorway, whatever.
I love that. It's see, this is why I ask these questions, because sometimes it's so simple and you're like, oh my gosh, I talk about it all the time. Like, you have to practice loving, right? You have to do it every single day or you're never gonna open it. So it's kind of like, just do something simple as smiling, because it's really hard to yell at someone when you're smiling. Sometimes I try it just to like see if I can do it. I can't, but that's good. How about bringing awareness or ownership if you're the person outside looking in? Like, Kris, you're outside, you're looking in at these people, that someone that is suffering or the pain. How do you go about that without overstepping or causing it to go the other way? Are there eggshells involved, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think learning to become an active listener is so huge. Just being there for someone so that they can talk when they want to talk is really, really key. You know, it's hard for people to open up, and, you know, just being there, it's such a big thing.
Can you clarify what active listener is? Because I think there's people don't really understand what listening is.
Yeah, I think for me, being an active listener is someone that's going to sit down and really take the time to listen to what people are saying, and maybe ask some questions, some rhetorical questions. Like, I heard you say this. What does that really mean? Or, you know, kind of turning it back to them so that they can in return open up even more.
The only thing I would add is roll with objective versus subjective. We set off other people's landmines when we use subjective, and objective can't be argued with. There's nothing to argue about. So subjective would be like, hey man, you look like a mess. Like, have you showered lately? Have you shaved? Like, what's going on with you? As opposed to objectively, like, hey, 3 out of the 5 days that you showed up to work this week, you stunk. You stunk like BO and like alcohol. Is there anything going on I can help you with? You know, it doesn't knock them on their heels.
Oh, that's a good point. I love that, having that concept of being able to just ask the same question, but in such a different way that nobody's feeling, they're not feeling like you come at them, right? They're just like, oh, well, I don't know, I guess I forgot to shave. And then you think, shit, I better shave tomorrow because he's probably going to notice if I did it, right? Like,
well, and that you noticed, you know, that someone outside is seeing everything that's happening kind of in the inside a little bit. So I think that's a big thing.
Yeah. David saying subjective versus objective. Love it. That might be on the David Johnson show one day. I think that's one. Let's write that down. Somebody Somebody take notes. That was a good one. But then what? Okay, so I love all of that, right? Like, then what are your next steps? Because I believe there's that collaboration. I think and believe in the deepest of my heart that if you sit back and do nothing, and I don't care what it is and who you are, then you are part of a problem, period. You are zero collaboration. I don't care what comes out of your mouth. It's just BS and talk. So that veterans, civilians, everybody, like, what are some next steps? What are some thoughts of that, of collaboration?
I think the next steps have to be action steps, and obviously it's individual to the person. You know, if you want to lose weight, like the first step would be go for a walk and stop putting in so many calories, start burning more calories. Whatever that next step is for you, I think that's, the action steps. That's the next step, because nothing will change unless you have a shitload of discipline and you put it into the actions that are taking you on your mission towards your goal.
Do you think there's a little bit of intimidation, though, when you're kind of ready, you're kind of getting out there, you're seeing that you need a change, you're seeing that you want something different, but you're like, I'm so dark, I don't know, I'm so fat, or I don't know, I can't hike because of this, that, and whatever. So there's this intimidation factor that they have that stops. I mean, how do you get out of that? I was watching some movie, I forget what it was, but it was about surfing. And this guy's trying to surf, and the people that can surf come in and they make him feel bad because he doesn't know how, and he's just trying to do it. It was with Keanu Reeves, and there was the mask.
I think I was watching that.
Oh yeah, that's like 25 years old. Point Break.
But I was like, I hate those people. As I'm watching it, I'm like, I hate those people that when you're trying to get out there and you're trying to like be brave, and they come and they just like piss on you.
Well, they're terrible. They're terrible people. And this stuff is uncomfortable. So back to the person suffering in silence, he or she's got to talk with somebody. And the last thing they want to do on this planet is talk with somebody and share their deepest, darkest, most painful things. But that's what they have to do. The only way past is through. And most of us, myself included, compartmentalize very well, but that's not sustainable. It's like putting a Band-Aid on a wound. So we have to, we've got to talk about it. We've got to get it out.
I love it. So I say join 1 Mile Project, but I mean, that was just a shameless plug. But as we're wrapping up, do you have any last tips or resources or thoughts or just like mindsets that you can share that somebody might hear and say like, "Ooh, I'm going to pass that on," or apply themselves?
Good, Kris.
I always go back to, like I said, I'm a runner, and so I'm always into like mantras that help me get through. And one of the big things that I always remind myself, and I tell other people, is if it were easy, everyone would do it. So, when things get tough, you got to get through it somehow, whatever that is. You got to go to that place. And if that means, falling 7 times, you get up 8. We just got to keep going to get to a better place.
That's a good one.
I would say is you can change and you can do anything you want to do if you put forth the effort. Everything is upgradable. Don't ever think that you can't do something. Like, can I play basketball like Michael Jordan? No, of course not. But can I throw a ball into a circle? Yeah, I can. So you can do anything, and everything is upgradable. Just takes time and effort, discipline.
I love those 2 things. If it was hard, everyone would do it, or you said it so much better, Kris, and then everything is upgradable. I got a sidetrack because the dog's going off. Those are 2 great mindsets. Like, seriously, those are getting written down because you just say it over and over again. Like, they're smiling, just say that over and over again. That nice reminder for it. So thank you, guys. Thank you for coming on, sharing your wisdom, sharing your heart. You do it every single day, but thank you for spending this 24 minutes and 28 seconds with me today and everyone else out there. And for all those that are listening, no matter what, find a table. I'm Italian, so I always think food and wine and finding tables to like sit around and be merry and love on each other. Find something. There's a million things out there, and we will see you next time. Take care.
See ya.